California and Governor Newsom have been preparing for this moment for months now.
Lawmakers have been working on a comprehensive strategy and a package of bills expanding abortion protections. Here's a look at some of the states that currently have bans or plan to make abortion illegal in the future. NBC4's John Caddies-Klimak is live in downtown with efforts to make California a sanctuary state. John.
Yeah, guys, California is just different. One of the biggest things that lawmakers are working on right now is to change the state constitution to make sure that abortion is legal, which means that would benefit women not just in the state of California, but anybody who comes in.
I am, though, very mindful that California can play an outsized role at this moment.
California Governor Gavin Newsom speaking this afternoon to not only those in the Golden State, but beyond, who are worried about what the ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court now means to them.
And I want folks to know all around the rest of the country and many parts of the globe that I hope we're your antidote to your fear, to your anxiety.
Lawmakers are set to vote on Senate Constitutional Amendment 10 on Monday, which would put the rights of reproductive care into the state's constitution.
I couldn't get one legally in California, so I had to go to an unlicensed health care provider.
Civil rights attorney Gloria Allred sharing with NBC4 today her own story of being a victim of rape in her 20s and unable to find a legal way to end her unwanted pregnancy.
Was left in a bathtub, hemorrhaging in my own pool of blood, and almost died from an illegal abortion.
The majority of our callers that we see are people in their 20s. There are people who are Black, Indigenous people of color. There are people who are underinsured. There are people who are low income making ends meet.
Tricia Gray is with Access Reproductive Justice, the only state-approved abortion fund. She says they've already seen an influx of people from outside of California looking for help.
Most people who are needing support are within the margins of care who are uninsured or underinsured. Essentially, these are people who are low income, within poverty. These are people who don't have anybody, and the government has already let them down.
That means in California, hotels, transportation, and the procedure itself could all be covered, leading to cynicism by some about so-called abortion tourism.
If a person is saying that this is some type of tourism piece, I would definitely challenge that and say that they may not be living in the reality of what are the margins that people are already living in today.
So here in California, in order for lawmakers to change the state constitution, that means that voters have to approve that, and that could happen as soon as this November. Reporting live over downtown LA, I'm John Caddies-Klimak, NBC4 News.